Hello, my name is Pierre Sabak. I'm going to be talking today about the traditions of the Jinn. First of all, the etymology of Jinn comes from the Semitic stem Jinn, to hide. We see that there's a relationship there etymologically with Jinn, a serpent. So, for example, the wordplay within the Arabic would be zahif, which is to hide or a counterfeit, and zahif, which is a reptile. These wordplays are found also in terms of how the serpent itself is represented as the spirit. So, for example, the Aramaic word jinn, which means a spirit, in the colloquial dialect, and we see that there's a relationship there between hidden knowledge and the serpent. Now, there are many different classifications of the jinn. In fact, the classifications of the jinn run into several hundred different types of species. According to Quranic tradition, there are three separate species of being. These are angels, men, and the jinn. Now, the generic term used to represent the angel or the jinn is the fasajadu. This is used typically as a pronoun, but can be used as a generic word to refer to an angel or the jinn. The main difference between the angel and the jinn is free will. So, according to Quranic traditions, the angels themselves do not have free will. They actually have to obey the will of God, where both the jinn and man are actually given free will. But we see within Quranic tradition there is some ambiguity, because the Iblis, who is typically represented as Satan, Iblis traditionally rebelled against God. So this would obviously indicate that there is a tradition that certainly the fallen angels had free will. In many respects in Islamic tradition, the difference between the angel and jinn is very ambiguous, because the fallen angel is said to have free will, as is the serpent, jinn or jinn. We see also that the angel is represented by the dragon, and we see this relationship there with the jinn as well, because we said that the etymology of jinn is derived from jinn, which is a serpent. Now, going into the various different categories or classifications of the jinn, there are actually hundreds of different categories. But for our purpose today, we will just look at several of the main categories which are found within the Arabic. The first category is the Ifrit. Now, this is often represented as an infernal jinn. The word Ifrit comes from the Arabic stem frita, which is to deceive. Now, the Ifrit is often represented as a trickster or a deceiver. Underneath the Ifrit, you have the married. The married themselves are said to be the jinn of the sea. These are very powerful jinn, and historically come from pre-Islamic Arabian culture. But also the marid are also found within Asia as well. We also have the gul. The Arabic word gul is said to originate from the Arabic gala, which is to seize. In this respect, we could see that there's an etymological relationship between the reptile, rapire in the Latin, and rapire, which is to rape, pillage, or seize. So again, we see that the reptile itself is a personification of the angel, but also symbolises the conqueror or the king. Now, the ghoul traditionally are said to be shapeshifters. They will often drink the blood of human beings and can take on the form of the human being through the ingestion of blood. One of the main etymologies of ghoul can be traced also from the Egyptian Arabic root gu, which means to be hungry. So the ghoul are said to be continually hungry, and in many respects mirrors the traditions of the vampire. Now, the ghoul themselves, or the ghoul, informs the European word ghoul, which again is a type of ghost or a type of entity. So they are some of the classifications of the jinn. We see also that the shaitani themselves are often classified with the jinn. This is because the shaitani themselves are represented by the dragon. Now, the shaitan comes from the word to oppose, or the adversary. So the shaitan themselves are linked into division. And in many respects, the shaitan shares many characteristics with the Nephilim. Now the word Nephilim is a pun on the word Naphil, to fall, and Naphil, which is a giant. So the Nephilim themselves are often symbolized as the giants. These are the same class as being as the Anarchy. The Hebrew word Anarchy is literally translated as the gigantic. Now in Greek, the giants are referred to as the Titans. So the Titans are the same class as beings as the Anarchy. Indeed, we can say that the Greek word Titan is related to the Greek word Tatan, which is the Hellenistic word for Satan. So the Titans themselves are often represented with division and with conflict. Now the Titans, the Anarchy, and the Nephilim are the same class as being as the Gibborim. The Hebrew word Gibber is a homonym. It means Orion, but also has the additional meaning large. In this case, this would obviously represent the star, which is a large star. So the origins of the Anarchy, the Nephilim, or the Titans, are said to originate from this star system. Now, in Islamic custom, the Shaitani is the fallen angel, or the dragon. In Revelations, this is described as a war between the angels themselves, this division with God, which created division upon the earth, and is also aligned to the traditions of kingship, or the stewardship of the earth. And the bloodline of the king is actually said to originate from the angelic source.